The Shining by Stanley Kubrick is a very disturbing and frightening film that features Jack Torrance, his wife Wendy, and their son Danny. Jack has taken on the role of a caretaker at Overlook Hotel, an isolated hotel with a violent past and haunted spirits. As Jack Torrance descends into madness in the isolated hotel during the winter, his family suffers. Jack doesn't seem like a madman when he is introduced for the first time, except when he doesn't appear concerned about the hotel's murderous past. His mannerisms and tone doesn't come across as mad and he has a pleasant conversation with Mr. Allman. Jack doesn't seem disturbed when he is informed of the incident in which Grady killed his daughters. His mental state deteriorated at that point. Wendy later revealed to Danny's doctor that Jack was an alcoholic who dislocated Danny's arm, causing Danny to have an imaginary friend named Tony. Wendy's clothing and the condition of the room in which they are shown here indicate that Jack abuses them. Having been the abuser in the family, he was very vulnerable to the Overlook Hotel's toxic influence once he visited it. The problem only grew when he was alone at the Overlook Hotel for weeks or months. Jack is the person most likely to turn nuts was not really unpredictable to me. It was very obvious when Allman talked to Jack about the incident and how Grady tried to kill his two daughters. Based on the evidence, it appears that Grady and his family have an abusive relationship. This foreshadows that Jack is about to do the same thing to his family. Jack's family also had the same abuser and abuse dynamics as that of Grady. Even before Jack arrived at the Overlook Hotel, he was an alcoholic who was struggling with addiction until one day he dislocated Danny's arm. If we look at the way he talks about cannibalism with Danny, it is quite clear how much he hates his family.
They were a party of settlers in covered wagon times. They got snowbound one winter in the mountains. They had to resort to cannibalism in order to stay alive.
You mean they ate each other up?
They had to, in order to survive.
Since he was already the most negative person in the family, it was easier for the spirit of the Overlook Hotel to influence him rather than Wendy or Danny. Jack is influenced by the Overlook Hotels for the first time he enters it. When Allman tells Jack about Hotel's horrible past, he seems rather amused than terrified. Jack becomes more and more insane as he stays at the hotel. We can see him getting absolutely nuts, throwing the ball or scolding Wendy with a horrifying face when she supposedly disturbs him while he was writing. After he is kissed by the woman in the bathtub, he loses his whatever state of humanity he had. He comes after Wendy and Danny with full rage in attempt to kill them. When Jack talks to Lloyd, Jack's hatred for his wife is very clear. He hates Wendy for his shortcomings, and he doesn't seem to care enough that he abused Danny. The way he talks about it as if nothing is absolutely happened is really terrifying.
I did hurt him once, okay? It was an accident. Completely unintentional. Could have happened to anybody. And it was 3 goddamn years ago! The little fucker had thrown all my papers all over the floor. All I tried to do was pull them up. The momentary loss of muscular coordination. Few extra foot-pounds of energy per second.
The Overlook Hotel's evil forces caught him because of his hateful personality. This hotel is just another place where his abusive behavior is rewarded. After getting kissed by the woman in the bathtub, he loses any sort of humanity left in him. Then after meeting Delver Grady, who tells him to kill his family, Jack violently tries to kill Danny, whom he claims he does not hate. Unlike Wendy, he chases them throughout the Overlook Hotel, leading to the epic chase scene where Danny is running for his life from Jack. Wendy has both psychological and physical breakdowns due to Jack's behavior. When Wendy tells Jack to leave the Overlook Hotel, Jack berates her, showing his hatred for Wendy to the fullest. Jack has always been the abuser in his family. The scene sort of emphasizes the abuser and victim dynamics and Jack's behavior toward Wendy even before they came to the Overlook Hotel. Unlike his book counterpart, Jack Torrance from the film was never a good guy who gets redeemed. He was an asshole, a true villain from the start. He had issues with alcohol and abused Danny and Wendy from the start. He was not as horrible person as he became when he got influenced by the forces of the Overlook Hotel, but he was not a good guy. Jack being a horrible person is revealed when he talks about dislocating Danny's arm, as if it's not a big deal. Although it can be said that Jack had some humanity left before he got kissed by the woman in the bathtub, the film never implies that he was ever a decent human being, which is clear if you take a deep dive into the personality and his behavior around his family. From his facial expression to his attitude, it is quite clear that he just cannot stand his family. I like this version of Jack Torrance more than the book version. This is so because the Overlook Hotel is never shown as an influence that turns Jack into the person he isn't. Rather, it is an environment where Jack is rewarded for his violent and abusive behavior. In the end, Jack doesn't get redeemed, because the true villain of the story is not the spirits of the hotel, it's Jack Torrance. His family runs away from him, and he dies in the snow, frozen, his face looking like a true madman.